I mentioned earlier the industrial past with your community, and this gets into your equity in your community about how you dealt with yourself. And this is typical of every city in America. And I don't know if you know the term redlining. Redlining is sort of a shorthand for the Homeowners Loan Corporation maps that were created in 1934, or HOLC maps. So in 1934, in the middle of the Depression, our federal government decided to change the way that we do mortgages and stretch mortgages from 7 years to 30 years. That's a really big change in mortgages. And they wanted to find a way to get more people into housing and stimulate housing purchases and housing construction, which is kind of hard to do in the Depression. But they couldn't control every city. They didn't know what would be a good bet and what would be a bad bet. So they left it up to each community to come up with four colors that named the best real estate, desirable real estate, declining real estate, and hazardous real estate. Hazardous was deemed red, so people colored in different parts of their community in red, and that's where that term redlining came from. So redlining was deemed hazardous by infiltration of immigrants was the term that they used. And in the 1930s, Italians, people like me, we were deemed hazardous. But also you measured your Negro population. That's their term on those documents. That was deemed hazardous. Now, as an Italian, I can change my name to Smith. I could move to another Italian neighborhood that might be yellow. But for the black populations, they didn't have that benefit. They couldn't change the color of their skin. And this went on from 1934 to 1968. Interesting thing about High Point is that y'all did it before redlining came to being. Your maps go back to the 1920s. This is your map color coded. The interesting thing about your colors here is that you've got this legend actually talks about the Negro population in black. So on the east side, the best real estate is actually rated red here for some reason, but this is the north side. Good real estate was blue. Poor real estate was green, and blighted was yellow. So on the south side, it was mostly black, green, and yellow, all kind of like sandwiched around the industrial properties. That's where the workers lived that could walk to work inside those factories. But this is where you started it. Most of that was against the train tracks on the south side. And it's an industrial legacy that the southwest neighborhood has carried the predominance of compared to your whole city where all the industrial is. So if you just stack your city up, you're about 11% industrial. But inside the southwest region, it's more than 3 times that. So as you talk about your community, just realize this is an industrial legacy past that's been kind of anchored into your southwest neighborhoods, but it's worthy of a conversation about what it does to your community to kind of keep the real estate value somewhat suppressed. However, you do see that as you get closer to the downtown, closer to South Main Street, you can start to see that potency kick up. So there is an opportunity, but it's going to take a heavier lift because of the 100 or so years, more than 100 years of suppression that's been in the community. But you do have some positive action and ability in your community. So back to the redlining for a second. We took your map and kind of recolor coded it. So here's your key of the different color codings on the left. On the right is Greensboro's redline map, and you can see that good is green, desirable is blue, declining is yellow, and hazardous is red. So we're going to go ahead and change your map and recolor code it to match what other maps look like to that same color code, and rework your map. Now, before we go there, let's just kind of show you Greensboro on the east side, that red area there. And notice how Greensboro, it's like everything kind of blows northwest for the good real estate, and there's like a crescent around downtown that kind of suppresses it to the east side. This is an actual scan from the 1930s, so they actually wrote this out, and you can see that Negro population, yes, 100%. So that deemed this neighborhood hazardous. And you can see to the left of that, you see foreign-born nationality, none. So this is just done to a black neighborhood, basically. And that stayed in place until 1968. High Point, y'all basically redlined about 25% of your community. So you can see that on converting the Negro and the poor condition neighborhoods into red, you can see that's a significant part of your community, and the rest of it was yellow on the south side. Your good neighborhoods were seen on the northwest and north neighborhoods. As you think about your growth pattern for the next remaining 100 or so years, this sort of explains why you kept on growing northward. The scale was tipped in that direction. So here's today, your values, or 2024. You're still holding strong in value for your average value for the residential properties at about 800,000 an acre. And those other three categories of blue, yellow, and red are all down around 300,000. Again, this is part of your history and part of your legacy effect in your community, is to understand this and to work on repairing this. If you look at also, there's a kind of a calcification of your race in your community as well. This is a population demographic breakdown called a one dot map, which is your Asian population is in red, your black population's in green, Hispanic in yellow, white and blue, and then other. And you know this about your community. You're phenomenally diverse. You have Asian pockets on the south side in the southwest neighborhood. And to kind of zoom in, you can see that here in these maps. So we'll just take these southwest quadrant, southeast quadrant, and compare it to the northwest neighborhood. You can see the race differences right there as you cross the tracks. More black to the east, more white as you go north. And then this is the redlining breakdown of them. So it's pretty much 60-40 red and poor condition on the southwest, and 34-66 in blighted versus poor in the southeast. When you look at the race breakdown, you see again predominance of black populations on the southwest and southeast quadrants, and predominance of white in the northwest. So just kind of stacking it all up. Here's how, again, those previous slides kind of laid out with the northwest neighborhood, southwest quadrant, and southeast quadrant, and then the average value per acre of each of these districts. So this is a reality of your community. This is data. This is the evidence of the economic effect of policies that were put in place. Again, you weren't alone in this. This happened all across the country. But if you keep economic policy that has constraints in it for certain population demographics for close to 70 years, it's going to take a while to kind of repair that work. But you have to kind of stare at it in the face and kind of head into it. But this is what you're dealing with in the southwest neighborhood going forward.